here with another edition of The Socialite. This evening we're here celebrating Chef Jennifer new cookbook. Not only is she showing us the cookbook, but she's giving us some of her signature dishes that you can find inside the cookbook, along with this wonderful cocktail. I believe it's called Blackberry cocktail, and it's really good. But we have another special guest in the house who's very close to Chef Jennifer, and we're the Chef Butler. Thank you so much for sitting down with Urban Socialite. We appreciate it. So tell us how you got into the business.
I got into the business by having friends over and cooking, and I got out of the military and said I was going to become a patrolman. Okay. I had a degree in criminology and decided I didn't want to go back to another uniform. So a friend of mine said to me, "Well, you love to cook, why don't you cook?" I said, "You can make money doing that?" He said, "Yeah." So I went to culinary school and started in it and ran with it and never stopped.
What was your, at that time, what was your signature dish that you knew anytime anyone ate that dish, they was going to be like, yes?
My signature dish back then was Caribbean from the Bahamas peas and rice with coconut milk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my grandmother used to take the rice and soak it in coconut milk overnight and then cook it the next day. And everybody from the Caribbean knows about what we call the cake. That's the bottom of the pot, the rice that burns as well as flavor is in it.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the cake.
So, you know, I think about those days, and I used to try to recreate what she did in the kitchen as I was coming up. And I had some relatives come to town one time, and they said, "Oh, you cook just like Aunt May," and I was shocked because nothing was written. You know, it was all done from her head. The cakes, and my grandmother did all kinds of things. Okay. You know, I came home from school, there were cookies, there were cakes, you know, we ate very well.
So you were spoiled?
Yeah, I was actually, being an only child too, so it had a lot to do. But as I went around after I got out of the service and I went in the kitchen, basically everybody in the kitchen was black. And then all of a sudden, after I got out, when I went to culinary school, I was the only black student in my class. And I was the oldest one. And the trend started changing. Restaurants, the French thing came in. Depending on where you grew up, there was a German influence. There was always a big Italian influence. So everybody started doing their thing. And heavy foods in most places, and now we're into 2012 and foods are lighter. Tapas is a big thing, the small portions, small plate, bistro food. If you go to France right now, one of the big things now is bistro food. Not the ornate, big heavy columns and, you know, the fancy.
And I think that takes talent to make a meal that was used to be this big and shrink it down now to miniature size.
It does.
But we don't want to sleep on your career because you were telling me earlier that you used to be was it a dean at Le Cordon Bleu? Now, how did that take place?
I started out there as an instructor.
Okay.
And I had owned a restaurant here.
Okay. What was the name of it?
It was called Kitchens. I named it after my mentor.
Okay.
And I had published a cookbook because I was also a private chef here for a long time. Okay. And I just enjoy cooking. I enjoy reading about cooking. People come to my house and all my books are cooking, you know, and I still do it. Okay. I still read them. I still enjoy practicing and doing the thing. Okay. My greatest enjoyment is that past students of mine still call me and ask for advice. And that means that I conveyed something to someone. I recently got a Facebook from a guy. His opening line was, "Chef Butler, thanks for kicking my butt."
And that was going to be my next question because, you know, I watch on TV, Hell's Kitchen, and I was like, do they really, the master chefs really act that mean? Or is that television? But sometimes you really have to be tough like that?
Sometimes you got to be tough. You know, what I tell people all the time, anybody can make a mistake, even me. But if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over, then there's a problem. So, you know, you learn from the mistake. And, you know, some of the greatest things in the kitchen have come about because of mistakes. So, and then you say, oh, I created something that people like it.
So how did you come about meeting Chef Jennifer?
Jennifer was an instructor at the Gourment too.
Okay.
And we met, and we have a nice friendship. She comes to my house, I come around it. Because on Sundays, everybody knows, well, he's going to be over there cooking or what have you, and I'm always doing different things and experimenting because cooking gets in your blood. And once it's in your blood, you want to try everything.
Yes.
You know, it's like sushi now. Sushi has taken over the country. And I went as far as to do what I call soul sushi. You know, I do, and Jennifer used to laugh about it. But it takes off. I mean, mine was nothing but the sushi rice and collard greens and a piece of fried chicken and a little bit of ranch dressing. And just roll it up and cut it. And I call it soul sushi. And it works.
So what advice did you give her?
For Jennifer, I just said, keep trying. Keep doing what you love to do. I said, you know, I always set goals for myself. And I always told students the same thing. I wanted to be published. I did publish a book. I wanted to own my restaurant. I've owned two. One in Florida and one here. And you have to have goals. And you pursue those goals. And I think as long as we pursue the goal, it keeps you young and vibrant, and it keeps your interest at a high level.
The last question, what is, if I was a chef, what is my ultimate position that I want to get to?
Anyone that's a chef always wants to be the executive chef.
And why is that?
Because you're the guy in charge, you're the one that's creating, and you're also teaching people your style so that they can be on the way to success.
We have a question for someone out there.
Restaurant recommendation, Atlanta restaurant recommendation.
What kind of dish? Is that what you're asking?
Where to go?
You're from Atlanta?
Yeah, I live here.
Where would you recommend someone to go? What restaurant or place to go to?
Some of my favorite places in Atlanta is I like Rain Italian. There's a little Italian restaurant in Brookhaven called Valencia. It's fabulous. And right around the corner from Valencia, there's a little taco place called Verde. And we have good vegetable taco. And it cooks the room for tacos.
We're going to have to exchange numbers so that you can take us, UrbanSocialites, to some of these spots so we can check them out. Because I love to eat too.
Okay, well, you will enjoy it.
Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
out your time to
You're
talk with
quite welcome.
UrbanSocialites. It's been very informative. So you guys, hey, look him up. He's the legendary. He's the one that gave the advice to Chef Jennifer, and she's on her way as well. Thank you.
In the beginning, it was my singing that had soul. I was an Ike Cat, a backup singer in the Ike and Tina Turner review. But when my lung collapsed and I could no longer sing, this soul sister turned to soul food. So I opened my own restaurant. And one thing's for sure, this family means business. My son Tim tackles everything from supplies to managing our employees. Tim's girlfriend Janae, she's responsible for taking care of Tim. My nephew Charles, he works hard at not working. And this proud mama is at the head of this family business. Welcome to Sweetie Pies.
We're here at, we're celebrating the book with Chef Jennifer. You made a dish for the guests that came out tonight. What was that dish?
Well, it's 3 dishes. It's a Graham's coleslaw, which is just your cabbage and your Miracle Whip, which is what we grew up on, vinegar and sugar. Also a smoked pork shoulder and a corn muffin. But instead of having a plate of all these things, I made them cute since we're in Buckhead. And we did a corn muffin on the bottom, a little bit of the pork shoulder, and then the coleslaw.
And one of my favorites, as well as the cameraman, you made this wonderful.
Oh yes, our blackberry crush. And I wanted to do a southern cocktail. We always have blackberry bushes, and we pick them. And so it's a blackberry brandy, a little bit of vodka, and some club soda.
Awesome.
Bread recipe. So it's cornmeal, there's also flour, there's eggs, the buttermilk, the baking soda. And we grew up, my grandmother had chickens, so we would get the eggs. And so they would be farm fresh eggs. So if you're able to, I would definitely recommend that.
How do you get them so small?
I shrink them with my magic mouth. I use just a little baby muffin pan, that another chef friend of mine loaned me. So we baked them off, and because we wanted just a little bite, we cut them in half so that they'll lay flat. Now if you wanted to do this on a larger scale, you could do a muffin, or you could even cook it in a cast iron skillet. Okay? So the secret ingredient here is bacon drippings. She always had bacon drippings or soft pork, and so that's the oil. It's not canola, it's actually bacon. The second thing is a pork shoulder, which is a leaner cut of the pork. It's not cured, so it's not a ham yet. I rubbed it with some of my spice blend, I think over on the other table, and smoked it with a little hickory wood. And then a creamy coleslaw. We grew up, and I know this is probably a little different because we're in the South, but Miracle Whip. That was the mayonnaise, okay? So my grandmother, that's all she used. Even now, I'm like, I don't do mayonnaise, I like Miracle Whip. So it's the Miracle Whip, vinegar, a little sugar, the cabbage, onion, a little bit of carrot, and salt and pepper, so that's it. And it's very, very easy. And as I said, we baked off our little mini muffins. And we'll just add a little bit of the meat. I made a bit of a barbecue sauce, and it was tomato, a little brown sugar, and cider vinegar, a little garlic and lemon, and a little onion. And as I said, I've lived a lot of places, so that's more of a Midwest sauce style, but it's what I really like. And some of the spice blend, everyone will get a thank you for fighting this Buckhead traffic gift as you depart. And it has the recipe for the smoked shoulder. And it also has a little spice packet, so you guys can try it out. Okay. And as I said, we also did a lemon pound cake. And although I'm not a baker, and honestly, I don't enjoy it. I make Christmas cookies because people look at you making She is a pastry chef. And I made each of my daughter's first birthday cake, and the rest we ordered. And that's where we're at. But the pound cake, my grandmother's a great baker, and she'd do butter rolls and cobblers. She didn't do cookies, but she did coconut cake and chocolate cake and ice creams and all of those great sweets. So I wanted to share that with you guys as well. So this is something you can do if you wanted to do more of a down south appetizer. Dress it up a little bit.
Do you know what your first dish was when you first realized you were into cooking?
I remember my grandparents were still in Detroit, and it was, I think, Thanksgiving or Christmas, and my grandmother was making the dressing. And I was standing next to her and begging to lick the spoon. I know most kids want to lick the spoon from like cake batter, but I wanted to lick the spoon on the dressing. And then cooking, my middle sister couldn't come. She lives in Virginia, but she would be my sous chef, which meant she had to wash all the dishes. But whatever phase, I went through the colored food phase, so I would dye everything different colors. You know, I went through the joy of cooking, and I would just try different recipes. So I've always loved it. My parents insisted I go to college first, then I could do culinary, and my family has just really supported it, and I still have a passion and still enjoy it. And just wanted to share that with you guys.
Another guest, John with Poggen Pohl. I hope I pronounced that correct.
That's pretty close.
Poggen Pohl Kitchens, located right here in Buckhead, Atlanta. John, tell us a little bit about it. Is it Poggen Kitchens?
It's Poggen Pohl Kitchens.
Poggen Pohl
Poggen Pohl Kitchens.
Tell us a little bit about how it came into existence, how long you've been up and running.
Well, first of all, Poggen Pohl The name Poggen Pohl comes from, is a family name. Frederick Poggen Pohl founded the name way back in 1891. So this year, I believe, if my calculations are right, we're celebrating our 120th year in business. We currently distribute to 70 different countries worldwide. In this particular country, we have 33 showrooms, 12 of those which are corporate showrooms. We typically cater to the person that's looking for the more contemporary modern look, and we have several different price levels, 8 different price levels in total, 1 through 8 being the highest. So there's always a product there for everyone. The kitchen that we're looking at right now represents what we call a plus model kitchen. This was designed in collaboration with a Spanish architect called George Benson. George Benson came up with the concept of light and concealment, where you have partially concealed cabinets with lights inside, lights underneath. You have lights in the backsplash. You have the flicker countertop, which was a concept that we arrived at as well, where you can have the continuous cantilever countertop that's 36 inches without any vertical support. You can have the look on this whole idea is a cantilever countertop that's only less on this cabinet. Everything else is completely cantilevered, which is a very interesting concept.
So quick question for you, John.
Yeah.
What is the process if I wanted you guys to come in and redo my kitchen? Like, for instance, how long would it take to install? Because I know a lot of times now with these new furniture stores, they go 8 to 6 weeks.
Yep. Well, you have to keep in mind that we're a custom product, and we're made in Germany. And everything we do comes from Germany. So the process is most of my clients either come here via interior designers or architects, or else just casual homeowners coming in through the door. But the process starts off with a set of architectural drawings. We do a design, get the client in, we do a presentation, we put the costumes together, and then we revise and change and chop to the right thing. We offer a full service here in terms of floor plans, elevations. We do color perspectives. We put the whole package together for those who can't visualize what it's going to be like in reality. I bring it up on my plasma screen. They can see exactly. We can change the colors and all that type of stuff. Then we put the order into the factory. We take it to Boston. We put the order into the factory in about 12 to 14 weeks. A little more than 6 days, but 12 to 14 weeks. But very worth waiting on, obviously. And it's shipped over 40-foot containers. We have 2 warehouses, one in Miami, one in New Jersey, and everything then is shipped via Atlas van lines all over the country.
So very intense, basically. Now I'm a person, I love contemporary, so this is like a kid in the candy store. So what would I'm an espresso type person. I love espresso cabinets and cone knobs and all of that good stuff. That's my favorite. But what is the most popular favorite here in Atlanta as far as wood grain or color?
Well, one of the most popular finishes that we sell at the moment, and this goes for not just Atlanta but for nationally, is the wood veneer on the kitchen around the corner, which we call teak lava. So it's a teak looking wood, but in a lava kind of colored finish.
And
that actually comes in a couple of different variations. On the island, I'm referring to the teak lava as in this one right here. On the island I show the teak lava. What this is, I may have mentioned earlier on about the different price categories, 1 through 8 being the highest. This is price category 1. So people nowadays after this recession are looking for,
You said this is a veneer?
This is a laminate. But it's made to look like real wood. See the texture on this? So it feels like real wood. It feels like a real green veneer. And there is people that come in here and think this is real wood. But it's obviously not. And that is represented by the price category. It's a lower price category. If you want the real wood, you want the price category 4. If you want book match veneers with high gloss finish on it, you want the price category 8.
So what can I reach you if you're interested in getting a new kitchen? Is there a website?
There's a very good website. entitlted.com. Poggen Pohl Kitchens.com. And that's us.
And this is the office that they will come into?
This is the office.
And what's your phone number?
Phone number is 404-816-7275.
Well, you heard it right from here. Anytime you're looking for a new kitchen, especially if you have the same style that I have, contemporary, make sure you check them out. And to speak to John, I'm sure he'll be happy to help.
From creator Shonda Rhimes.
It is an honor to work for your law firm. This is not a law firm.
The next great television drama has arrived.
We're crisis managers. We make the problems of our client, big or small, go away.
It would be a mistake to think there will be no consequences to you telling lies about the president.
A provocative thrill ride that's being called the best new show of 2012.
Maybe this won't come out.
Dirty little secrets always come out.
ABC's
And we're back. We're still here in Buckhead celebrating Chef Jennifer's success in her new book called Going Down South, A Chef's Journey Home. First, let's talk about your season.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's get that first. What is it?
Well, I can't tell you everything that is in there, but I do like a well-balanced seasoning. I don't do a lot of sauce, but I love garlic, I love onion, paprika, even a little cumin in there, and then some dried herbs. So it's a blend of all of those, a few secret ingredients.
Now, do you recommend it on a certain type of meat or poultry?
Honestly, for the spices, you can do meat. You can do seafood.
Okay.
Even grilled vegetables is really nice on that as well.
Okay.
So you can mix it up on whatever you like.
Awesome. And where can they pick it up at?
Your residentgourmet.com. They can order their very own.
How much is it?
It'll be $6.50.
$6.50. So make sure you guys pick that up. Now let's get into this book.
Okay.
Going Down South, A Chef's Journey Home. How did this come about?
Well, I was born in Michigan, grew up in Florida, but my family is from Mississippi, and we'd always go down south for summer or for the holidays. And as I had my culinary career, I shied away from Southern cuisine, so just because I didn't want to be stereotyped.
Gotcha.
But as I've gone on in my career, I realized that I cook the way I do, I season the way I do, because of my heritage, which is truly a Southern heritage. And so I felt my first book needed to be a tribute to my heritage. And so it's Going Down South, A Chef's Journey.
Great. I love the title. How long did it take you to come up with it?
Honestly, I've been dragging these recipes around for years, and it's been within the last, I'd say, 8 months that I've actually put it on paper. And just ready to get it out there.
Okay. So give us your top 3 dishes and your number 1 dessert.
Okay. It's not so much a dish as a condiment, and I think people call it chow chow here.
Chow chow.
We grew up calling it cha cha, and it's a pickle relish. It's from green tomatoes, cabbage, onions, pickling spice, and vinegar. And you eat it on your greens and on your pinto beans and your black eyed peas. And we would fight over, as kids, we had no claim to it. We didn't even get a jar. But once I got married, I was eligible to get some cha cha.
Okay.
So that's definitely a favorite of mine.
Okay.
Turkey and dressing. I love sage dressing or cornbread, old biscuits or old white bread. So that was my second. Third, and maybe this is stereotype, is fried chicken. Okay?
Stereotype to me?
Yes, especially if it's like a chicken wing, we're definitely there. And for dessert, my grandmother would make what she called a butter roll, which was a yeast dough that she would put butter and sugar, roll it up, and then bake it. And it made like this buttery syrup. And I love, love, love it.
So who was something, okay, you mentioned your grandmother, she showed you that dish. Who else was your inspiration for this book?
My grandfather, Grenade Sherlock, he would let us go with him when he'd go to the Eastern Market when we still lived in Michigan and Detroit and shop. He'd go hunting and he'd let us help him dress the food, dress the squirrel or rabbit or deer, whatever he got. I really loved that, and take us fishing. My aunt Sis, Mary Collins, was a great cook, and she'd barbecue and cook and let me churn the milk into butter. So they really inspired me. Yes. And my mom's an excellent cook, and she was kind of more of a Renaissance woman because she went to the University of Michigan, and she was exposed to other foods, other ethnic foods, Italian, Jewish, and so when we grew up, she cooked different dishes, not just Southern food.
So where can someone go to get the book?
Well, the book will be out in October.
Okay.
And I will post it on my website, yourresidentgourmet.com. And we'll definitely have it there. And of course, we're pushing to have it on Amazon.com and in bookstores.
How much is it?
We haven't figured the price yet, but I want to make it affordable so that everybody can get a copy and something that you can give to your own grandmother.